This question asks us to determine the end behavior for the function. What that means is it wants you to tell Newton what the y values are as x gets really far to the right, okay, or as x gets really far to the left. So there's two different types of end behavior. There's end behavior as x goes to negative infinity. So what's happening to the y values? Are they going to be up here? Are they going to be way down here? This would be an end behavior that approaches negative infinity as x goes towards negative infinity. And then end behavior is also talking to the right too. Those two directions. Okay, so maybe it'll help if we translate this. As x approaches infinity, that means as we're considering bigger and bigger numbers for x, the y values are going to infinity. Okay, that would mean as we get further along on the x-axis, the y values are getting higher and higher. This is a translation of what this is saying. Does that represent what's going on here? To test that out, the idea of approaching infinity is abstract. It's not some specific numbers, but what you could do is you can plug in a billion. The billion is closer to infinity than the normal numbers we play around with. If you were to plug in a billion into x here, you got a billion minus 1, that's going to be cubed, so it's going to be huge. And then you got a billion plus 2, that's going to be pretty big. And then you square it, that makes it even bigger. Two big numbers multiply to each other. It's going towards infinity, but then multiplying by a negative changes these from positive to negative numbers. So what we should say is as x goes to positive infinity, we're getting y values that are going to negative infinity. Because huge, but then we multiply by a negative number to switch it from positive to negative. So which one says that? This one does. This one does. So the middle two are the only ones that we could pick from. So to figure out which one's right, we want to consider what happens as x goes to negative infinity. So what this means is that we're talking about like negative a billion. If you were to plug in negative a billion in for x and subtract it by 1, it's still it's negative a billion and 1. It's very far to the left. And then if you cube it, cubing a number retains its sign. It's still negative, and it's going to be a huge number that's negative here. So this is a very big negative number. If you plug in negative a billion here plus 2, it doesn't change it much, but squaring makes it positive. This is a huge negative number times a huge positive number. Negative times a positive makes a negative. And then times the negative out here would make it back to a positive. So f of x is going towards positive infinity when we consider like negative a billion. We said it's one of the middle two. As x goes to negative infinity, fx goes to negative. That's not right. It's got to be this one here. We said as we plug in negative a billion, we get out positive something huge. Not a billion, but way bigger.